We're still scrolling through every single weapon. Ash of War. Do have this one, but I don't think Sacred Order buffs the blade. It's weird. I thought it just needed to be like a holy kind of enchanted weapon. I didn't know it had to have the little glow attached to it to, you know, instantly beat the skeletons. This doesn't even look like a skeleton dungeon. This is looking like a puzzle dungeon. No? I mean, it could be. Oh, it's definitely not one of those. Oh, please, not these. Well, that's not great. I guess art update. I'm calling it on the piece I was working on. So that'll get posted after stream. I mentioned yesterday I was working on a method. Not working on a method, but I was following a painting tutorial. I was like, this isn't really working. I don't really get it. I'm going to go back and try something else that I've kind of practiced. And going back to that, I'm like, this makes even less sense to me now than the last time I tried. So that got scrapped. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to the one I was doing because it was actually done in Clip Studio and not in Photoshop. Because I think that was a part of the problem. Was maybe some of the blend modes don't really work the same. Or I was missing a step that I just couldn't follow. Which could very much be the case. But the tutorial wasn't really too helpful. Because it was basically, hey, do this for these layers. And I mean, I guess it could work, but I was trying to follow, like, with the video, Bob Ross style. And I was lost. The other one had like a nice, like, hey, set your layers up like this, use these modes. This is for that. If you need this, do this. And it was like, okay, this has some versatility. I thought he fell over for whatever reason. Like that. I still want to mostly try it that way. I don't want to go back to just, like, you know, here's this skin layer. Make a clipping mask. You know, shadows. Ambient occlusion. Reflected light. I mean, I could. At the end of the day, something I've noticed with a lot of kind of just like professional level artists is at the end of it, they just kind of flatten everything. They duplicate and then they flatten everything and then they just paint over a bunch of it. So it doesn't really matter. Because you can always just kind of go back and fix it. I'm gonna go this way. Secret tunnel. What the heck is that? A lightning trap. crab. I knew there was a crab in one of these. Oh, there's two. I very vividly remember one of those gates with the water and these enemies, and there were crabs. Nice. That was almost bad. Yeah, working with values and then kind of masking and layering, you know, with like multiply, change the colors, change the levels, and do it that way. Actually use your digital tools. At least in terms of like the painting process. I have no interest in actually doing like painting in real life. If I were to paint in real life, I'd probably just use watercolors because I think it's maybe the easiest. But you kind of have to use them in a specific way. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to try and paint this way with my acrylics. It's probably not going to fly. I mean, it might. Who am I to say? I don't paint. That's fine. Oh. But whatever. We're not talking about real life, we're talking digital. Little secret. Okay, I guess it's just the whole way back. No shortcut, unless there was a secret wall and I don't know about it. Which is somewhat likely. Yeah, working with values, I think, is the way to go. I don't really want to get too concerned with like picking specific colors, even though I can. I'd rather have a way to just kind of work on everything all at once. And then if I need to go back and fine tune something or change the color, I can kind of do that right on the fly. So I think it's just a matter of, you know, finding the flow in that sort of process. I mean, I tried, like, that was attempt number 3. The first time I'm like, I don't get it. Then I tried something else and I'm like, this isn't working. And then when I went back, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it a little bit. I had to make the mistakes to fix the mistakes. Art rule number 1. Now, refining that and getting it to look nice is a completely different process. So that's kind of the goal. Oh, will this work? Dude, it works. I don't think it works. Yes, it does work. I didn't even look this up. I found it on my own merit. Because there was a room with 2 of them, and I'm like, okay, I definitely don't want to summon. I'm going to maybe use my tools a little bit. And I'm like, oh, well, I have these, so, you know, I was like, I would imagine physical damage doesn't do much to these guys, so let's try magic. And it, like, brainwashes them. Which just has me wondering, like, what other kind of items could you use on other enemies that also have that effect? Alright, I think I want to go back to this zone, because I know this is where the lift is. We'll just work our way up, kind of from there. So this is only plus 12. I was kind of doing a lot. I think it was maybe our scaling. Yeah, probably just another round of wandering. But I don't think there's much to do here. I know there's a couple quest lines we can kind of progress, but I don't think any of the characters are really out here except for that one guy who sells the miracles and Gold Mask. Which is a quest line I've never done. Oh.
I've been waiting. I knew you had. I hereby and take my hand.
You'll just take me?
I will pray.
I've never had this interaction. I mean in real life, not in the game. Was that funny or just pathetic? I think it sucked. I think that joke sucked. -2.
Interesting. Now you build the drawing room, but be short.
Ah, yeah, you know what? There are quest lines here. This is the area with the quests. Which is... Oh, you don't even have to attack that one. Maybe they patched that because people were missing it. And that's like one of only 2 ways to kind of go through this area. The other one is arguably more secret. It does have the 99 hit wall. I don't think there's anything behind it. I think it was just like maybe a shortcut.
Well, as long as I thought you were perhaps playing, but no, before you can.
This Guy's armor is kind of weird. It's like two snakes facing each other in conflict, but it's two lions. And I'm maybe the only person ever to make the Conan the Barbarian reference.
Comrades in arms. Well, you see, after much revenge, according to Lady, I've got the champions. It hit me like that my form. Of course, that unfortunate. But succumbing, Lanya knows that such is. I the pale, that won't be the. They'll be dark. The tale of. I the pale, complete. That won't be. They'll be dark. The tale of.
This blast before you consider.
So did they just make it like indestructible?
Brave Tarn under late.
Or is it like
Brave Tarn under late.
just like a single hit secret now?
Did you read the letter? That is the time. You will be compensated if you are loath to hunt, but you must leave. This is a war. We have no plea.
Don't know. That's fine. It's not like I know everything about this game.
Brave Tarn under late.
Just want to see if anyone had like any
This blast
progressed
I always a pale, complete. That
sort
won't
of
be
text.
They'll be dark. The tale of how. I'm the pale, but that won't be the. They'll be dark. A tale of.
It is just a wall. Yeah, I figured, you know, they made it that strong for a reason, probably because they didn't want it in the game. And they were like, Elden Ring comes out tomorrow, you can't, like, issue out a new patch. And they're like, health value 99. No one will ever sit here and do that. And then one guy did it, and they're like, okay, we have to patch it. Everyone knows now. This guy's toast. That's where you get the wheel from. I was wondering where that that weapon came from. I've definitely got it before, but I couldn't remember who dropped it. The pizza cutter. I remembered using that weapon in Bloodborne. I think it was busted. I think it was a busted weapon in Bloodborne. Now I have the... yep. So we might do that. Do Magma Mansion's quest line. I know it's called Volcano Manor. Okay? But I think Magma Mansion sounds better.
All good though. We'll do good. Oh, that is important. Are you surprised? I always. I thought I could not to mention.
Also, that's what I called it when I didn't remember the name. Like, oh, where are you in Elden Ring? I'm in Magma Mansion. Where's that? It's like this house. In the golden area, it's like this house. And they're like, oh, Volcano Manor? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you really couldn't get what I was saying from Magma Mansion? I feel like I talk in a way where anyone could understand what I'm talking about, even if I'm not using the right words. the House of Hands, that one area that I very specifically don't know the name of. Right before Ronnie's area. I just call it House of Hands. I guess not. Okay. What can I craft now? Can I craft anything electric? Yes, I can. I know I've mentioned this a couple times, but I really like, and I think Dark Souls kind of like made it this way for me, but I really like when like the light element, instead of it being like, you know, light and darkness as in like actual light and like shadow. I love it when light is lightning. I think it ups that sort of tangibility. But really, Dark Souls has done it, and I think Grand Blue does it. And that's it. But I would say that's kind of peak. You're not really going much higher than that in terms of games that do that. Even though I know Grand Blue's kind of niche, but like it's huge. It's huge. It's just not huge here. Or with me. Unless Dragalia Lost was still around, then I would kind of like half be into Grand Blue. Because there were some crossover characters, which has me kind of interested in the Grand Blue games. But not that much. I know there's a new one coming out and people are kind of hyped for it, but I don't know. Not this again. Okay, let's get rid of this guy. What the heck is this? This is the spot, though. All right, and if we miss, we kind of know his route. Maybe we can get lucky. Oh, need it. Didn't need the luck. Just had the skill. Oh, more hands. Nice. I don't think there's been too many jump off the ledge deaths. I think there's only been maybe a couple. And I know it's not anything to be proud of. But I'll take it. I'll take as few as I can get. Okay, we got map. I see item up there. It was a trap. I was hoping I'd have like maybe a meaty hitbox. The heck? Guys, I'm bad at this game. I ain't gonna lie, I'm bad at this game. Oh, but what else? What else is going on? I wasn't live that much yesterday. But it was just that art, man. It was just the art. I mean, I'm not expecting anything crazy. Like, I can see it's definitely not, you know, it's not there yet. And it definitely won't be for a while. Oh, nice. I knew they had insta-kill, but I didn't know which move was what. So I'm not gonna get discouraged when I post it, doesn't hit the mark, and we're just kind of left here. Guy only shows up when you beat this guy? That's weird. I've not upgraded this. Oh no. Talisman, I've not upgraded it. I did like maybe a couple times. He's impossible to hit? He's too skinny. Oh no! His command grab is impossible to dodge. Don't! In reality, I'm more excited about the critiques. I'm more excited that there's a couple people who I can kind of have point out some glaring flaws and maybe offer some advice. That's what I'm more excited about. Why? Why so much death blight? I'm pressing the wrong button again. Dude, he's busted. Fine. Yeah, I know your tell now. Oh no. Doesn't really matter if you're gonna just kill me in one hit. Please fall over. Where's the spot? Right here. Give me something good. Don't just give me nothing. You have to have an item. Okay. That was not really worth it, but it at least wasn't nothing. Nice. Okay, he just read my input there. I really don't find these guys that difficult. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I don't mind them. That move is maybe a problem. We're getting hit. We got lucky. Well, we're stuck. Cheat move. That's his only cheat move. Other than that, pretty easy. I mean, I think we are doing quite a bit more damage with the fire. But you can bleed those guys, so, like... Not the worst. They're not the worst. I wonder, we can do Radon now. In fact, I should probably do that before doing anything involving... the next bigger dungeon. Because I know that's sort of the next kind of instance when quests move forward, or you just fail them. I say fail, they just kind of end in a different way, and you didn't get the completion reward. But I think it specifically triggers when you beat the boss. I do not remember that invasion. Oh yeah, this place. This actually, I think, gives us a good weapon as well. I think it's strength-based, so we're not going to be using it. That's like a nice little side dungeon. So yeah, now we can do quite a lot. I didn't realize how much kind of opens up when you get to this area back in other zones. Specifically after you beat Radon. Nokron's pretty big. I don't want to fight these things, but I'm going to. Come on, do it. I knew you were going to do it. I know your moves. Yeah, roll into it. He tricked me. How did I drink that? Probably shouldn't be risking it with... Looks like 2 level ups. Might only be 1, but I think it might be 2. Let's not. A couple bosses out in the open. Here is pretty good. There was a big ladder here, though. Must be somewhere else. Magma Mansion is there. It must be... Not this way. It'd have to be... Oh, okay. It's here. Is it here? No. Yes. This is... I'm pretty sure this is where the boss is. We can go up, but we can't go back. So it's like up and over and around. I don't know why I'm so zoomed in. Yeah, just one. Yeah, there's kind of a lot to do. Maybe we'll do Radon. I wanted to do Radon. I think it'll be a good challenge. Because, like I said, I've never done it without summoning. But also, I think they nerfed him. I think I beat him when he was still really tough. And then later down the line, they nerfed him. I don't know what they nerfed on him. I think maybe some of his magic. But I know that happened. Can you please bleed dogs? I thought they were scarlet rot. Oh, one of these guys. Yeah, they don't like fire. I'm also standing in, like, the bleed zone. Nice range. Is this where you get his weapon? I know that weapon's pretty good. The one he has. A lot of good weapons here. It just feels like every weapon is pretty good. Also, I still haven't picked up the greatsword from Kaled. Yeah, that's it. Does use Dex. I don't think I'm gonna do a Dex Arcane build, even though I think that would be really fun. We're going like full Frenzied Flame. Even though I've probably missed some of the spells, because I swear I'm supposed to have more at this point. But maybe not. But I'm pretty sure I was supposed to have like the Cyclops eye beam at this point. But I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong. I don't think there's anything here. You would think this is blocking something. I don't think it does. I think it's just here just for show. Yeah, like nothing. Necrophosis? I've never heard of that. I've heard of Necropolis, which was like a roguelite Dark Souls game that I think was kind of just okay. I think it kind of just came and went. Didn't really shake the pillars. But I'm assuming you're talking about something new. It's a game like Scorn. Uh-oh. You know, I never played Scorn. I just watched people play it. I think it was kind of just out of the range for me for worth it. I can't say I'm like the biggest guy of like the Geiger-esque kind of aesthetic. But I think it was like, it's like one of those, like, it just feels like one of those games where people will just talk about it. Like, I feel like people will always talk about Scorn now. It's just kind of like one of those weird games of its time. I think if it was longer, it would kind of just be like... I think it would be more like, hey, you kind of have to play this kind of games, but I think it's a little too niche. At least for me. It's a very dense game, though. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I had to watch, like, specifically, like, what the heck? Please, YouTube, Scorn Explained into search. I didn't even know that, like, that creature was, like, the first... I didn't even know you were two different characters. I thought you were just the same guy. You might be saying like, oh, well, there's your problem. You're too dumb for Scorn. Yeah, maybe. I could be too dumb for Scorn. Just for the art direction. Yeah, I'm not a big art direction kind of guy. I think sometimes like if the game just looks good, I think it just looks good. And I think Scorn is a good example of going for an aesthetic and like it works and the game is also fun. But there are so many games where it's like, hey, you know, we did this style and the game is a visual novel. It's like, oh, okay. Or it's just some like genre of game. It's just like, I don't care. I'm more of a substance. If the style is good too and there's substance, then you're golden. I think that just like it all boils down to like graphics don't make the game. And I think if maybe your selling point, one of your selling points, not like your main selling point, is game looks like this, you know, maybe a little bit of a red flag. Or you're specifically just marketing to the people who like that. think that I'm dropping like a hot take or something. I feel like I am. I think I've been gaming for too long. Fallout 3 is not a well-made game, but it did have a lot of atmosphere and the world was interesting. Yeah. I mean, I would say it's at least competently made. I really like it. It is janky. But you know, there is a game there. And it's tough because sometimes, like, you know, the experience is the substance. Like, I was just thinking about this because I think Kojima's been tweeting a bit. But Death Stranding is like a game I would... It's like one of the best games I would never recommend people. Just because the game... The actual gameplay is you're just walking. But the experience is like the game. Not even just like the story, which, you know, is a part of the entertainment. But like sort of the communal aspect of like connecting and all that. The themes the game is playing. You know, it adds to it. But like if you know, if you're Mr. Call of Duty and I'm like, you should play Death Stranding, you probably hate it. If you don't like Kojima games, you would probably hate Death Stranding. So it just kind of depends. I think it's just one of, you know, you can have a game that's sort of in this artistic style, you know, and adds to the atmosphere and sort of the theming of the game. But, you know, it's not going to be for everyone. And, you know, even if it is for everyone, you could have, like, you could kind of just, like, you could jam pack it into, like, this little package and be like, it's, like, $40. And be like, the game is good. It's really short, but, like, the price is too much. Like, it, you know, it was one guy and he worked on it for, like, 8 years. So he's kind of trying to, you know, make his monies back. Trying to, you know, recoup the development cost. Well, Binding of Isaac, I think, is like this sweet spot nobody has ever kind of like replicated. It's like Isaac still has this aspect of the graphics are so simple that like the amount of variety that they can just put into the game, you know, it's not like high effort to add like the one thing. But there's so much of like the one thing, like, oh, you pick up this item and like, your eyeball changes color. You pick up this thing and like, you know, you have this, you get a scar on your face, or you have a headband, or you have hair. And like, Isaac like is so like, it's simple enough that you can like really up the variety. And I think, honestly, it spoiled the roguelike genre. I don't think it matters how you say that word, but I'm kind of stumbling over my my speech and my ideas. Because, like, every time I play a roguelike, and, like, the character doesn't change, I'm like, man, why doesn't the character change? And like, yeah, you can unlock costumes and stuff like that. Isaac is peak, man. It's just such a simple idea, and it just, you know, it did so much with it. That, and nobody's like even come close. I mean, people have come close, but like it's always like come at like a cost. Like Gungeon was really good. Gungeon's probably the closest to like being as good as Isaac. But I think it does more interesting things with the gameplay rather than like the variety of, you know, how things look and how your character changes as you play. Like, no game has even attempted to touch that. And I think that's fair, because I think you would probably have to tone everything down to be very Isaac-like. And then at that point, people are just going to say, this just looks like Isaac. Might as well just play that. Plus all the modding and everything. But I would really love to see someone just do that. And I think that's why there's so many different like roguelikes that kind of do things differently. That's like Atomic Crops. It just, you know, it's a twin stick shooter, but you know, there's a little farming aspect to it. So like your character doesn't change, but you know, the way you kind of build your farm up changes as you sort of, you know, find your crops and so on and so forth. Hades is probably the weakest in terms of like your character looking different. But the game, again, the gameplay is really good. And I think it's the most approachable. Well, I don't think... Well, yeah, it could just be an Isaac clone. You could consider it an Isaac clone, but... I mean, Risk of Rain did it. Risk of Rain is maybe another big one. I always sleep on it because I was late to the party. I think specifically Risk of Rain 2. It's not much, but there is a little bit of change on your character as you pick up items. They made it generic enough to that, you know, it could show up. when you pick stuff up on the 3D models. So that would pretty much be the only way you could kind of surpass Isaac, I think, is basically a Risk of Rain, like style, you know, 3D shooter, but maybe in more of a enclosed dungeon crawler sort of aspect instead of like a big open map. Bastion's a classic. Also, they made Hades, so you know they make good games when their first game is a, you know, kind of one of the gold standards for, like, would I say early indie game? Kind of in that era of like early indie games. Like that was Xbox 360, Summer of Arcade. Kind of really the first wave of like a big push for indie developers. The only problem is, Bastion was so good. They literally have made that game like 3.5 times now. Like all of their games are these isometric kind of action-y games. Except for maybe Pyre. Pyre is the only one I think that's gameplay wise different. And I kind of hate it.